Okay, so I'm gonna do this video with the one caveat that this doesn't count for just things that came out this year. It's just only the most brand new things that I have listened to, watched, or whatever this year. So even if the movie, say, came out in like the 80s, if it was the first time I ever saw it, it counts. So let's start with the worst music I've listened to this year. And I blame my kids because my son, one of my sons is really into dinosaurs. And I didn't want to keep listening to the Blippy dinosaur song over and over again. So I, searched for a dinosaur song. And what came up was Miss Papaya, Pink Dinosaur. And I've had to listen to that song quite a lot because it's my pink dinosaur. That was probably the worst song of the year for me. I just had to listen to it over and over again. All right, so moving on. The worst television show that I watched this year. So I don't generally jump into all these different things, watching tons and tons of TV shows. Mostly, I've done a lot of movies this year. And if I have to sit here, even though I'm gonna sit here and be like, there are good parts to these shows, and I had to choose between two. So first, even though I had just watched it, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the two contenders for the worst thing I have seen this year, and it's a sad, you know, point to be made. Um, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of my favorite animes, but the live action had a lot of flaws to it, and it didn't make me very excited towards the end. And then when I did finish it, I felt really unsatisfied with the show. On the flip side, I'm looking at my two cats, and they're both freaking now. The pregnant cat is like in heat because apparently that can happen towards the end of a pregnancy. A cat can be in heat, and the other cat is now also in heat, and they're freaking being ridiculous because they're basically trying to like make each other. But anyways, getting out of that topic because it's a weird one there. Um, so the other show that was on the worst of the worst was gosh, Neos Galaxy something. It was one of the Ultraman spin-off series where it was them fighting, using monsters to fight monsters. And I dropped it even though it was very short just cuz I didn't care. It didn't grab me. As much as I like Red King and everything else that's and Gamora and all these other monsters, it didn't grab me. And uh, I think the fact that I dropped it versus Yu Yu Hakusho, which I finished, granted, Yu Yu Hakusho was short. No, I can't really say shorter. One was 13 episodes that were 20 minutes, and the other was 5 episodes that were an hour long. So it's roughly close to the same amount of time. I'm going to have to say that the Ultraman spinoff was the worst one I watched, but it wasn't bad. It just wasn't good, in my opinion. Because even though I like kaiju fights and everything, I kind of want a little bit more to it than I'm really angry and I'm losing myself in my anger because I'm an alien who's powered up by anger. Um, I kind of thought it was eh. So, the worst movie I saw this year. And you know what? It was a contender. I saw a couple of stinkers, and they all were kaiju flicks. I didn't think The Little Mermaid was the worst movie in the world, and even though I hated Barbie, I didn't think that was the worst movie in the world. But movies that I actively did not enjoy at all, well, I said my piece on a couple of them, but one of them really sticks out, which is Battle of the God Monsters. And I don't know what the budget was for this, but the plot was incredibly stupid. The A plot is there is a reporter sneaking into this scientist's house because she wants to get like the scoop, so she's pretending to be a maid, and he's worried about giant monsters that are going to destroy everything and everyone. And the A and B plots don't touch until the very end when the monsters actually attack where they are, even though they're attacking other places. But it's never the same monster, and the suits are all really not that great. Um, and the music in the movie was terrible. It, it was not a very good film. So if I compare the two things that I watched, oh, not two things. I said two things. I don't mean two things. I'm just waking up. I usually record these first thing in the morning before I get ready for work. Um, so that was probably the worst thing I watched out of all of it. The other ones were those other kaiju flicks. I'm trying to even forget the names right now. When they had like King something versus, oh yeah, it was Raiga versus Oga. Oh my god, that was bad. That was right up there, but I think that Battle of the God Monsters ekes it out just a little bit.